I love you. Come to Papa. I love you.
Well, today in Mike's Gear Locker, we're going to look at quite possibly my favorite piece of gear in the gear locker, and something that's been with me for a very long time and literally been all over the world, played on hundreds of records. My accordion.
I love you.
This is a student model Hohner accordion. It's a really cool piece. It has a pickup on it that requires no batteries. It's got old static ceramic microphones in it, two of them. They're kind of the microphones that you would find in like in a harmonica microphone, and there's two of them here, and there's one in the back, so you can plug it in. Sounds amazing live. And these type of microphones that are in it, if you play the accordion louder, just like if you played a harmonica louder through these microphones, it kind of distorts a little bit and gives it a little bit of edge, which is super cool. Back in the day, my uncle gave me an accordion. It was the first accordion that I ever had, and I started playing it live. I just loved the sound of accordion in sort of Americana music. Like Counting Crows, on the Counting Crows first record, there's accordion on it. It just used almost like an organ for beautiful lines. It's just the perfect texture on records, and I always wanted one, and I wanted to tour with one. So my uncle gave me this beautiful Hohner accordion, which is a little bit bigger than this, and it was great. But I needed something a little bit smaller that I could take on airplanes and put in the overheads, because I was constantly flying. So I figured out that these little 48 bass Hohner accordions were the perfect size to travel with. So, of course, where do you go to find this? I went to eBay to start looking for these, and I found this little guy, and I was like, wow, that's cool, and it's got a pickup on it too, and there was a bit of a write-up on it, and I was looking at it going, oh, this can't be real. It said this accordion belonged to John Cassell of the John Melon Camp band, and was used on many of the John Melon Camp recordings. And I was like, wow. I'm a huge Melon Camp fan, especially a huge fan of the album that was made, The Lonesome Jubilee, in the 80s. I love this record. I think it's one of the greatest Americana records that was ever made. It had these great songs like Cherry Bomb, Check It Out, Paper and Fire, and songs like Check It Out that had these unison accordion and fiddle lines together. I mean, I had a tape of this when I was a kid. I remember driving in the truck with my dad and hearing Check It Out on the radio. And I think I wore out about 2 or 3 tapes of the Lonesome Jubilee. So when I saw that John Cassell's accordion was available for sale, I couldn't believe it. And so I was like, wow, is this even a thing? Like, is this real? So I went online and, of course, tried to match the pictures of the accordion to the eBay pictures and make sure, and it was in fact the accordion. It was listed in Indiana, and that's where Melon Camp is from, and that's where John Cassell was from. John Cassell passed away in 1992 during the making of the Human Wheels record, and I guess his family had held on to his instruments for quite a while and made the decision to find a guy to sell this for them, along with a lot of his keyboards. A lot of his Korg keyboards were available with stands, and they still had the set list taped to the top of them. It was pretty cool, but I was really, really interested in this piece. And so I put in a bid, and I got lucky, and I got this accordion, and that was 2006, and I've had it a long time now, and it's literally been all over the world with me. There's really isn't a gig that I go to that this doesn't go with me, and it's so special to me that I never let it out of my sight. It's always on my back. I carry it in an accordion backpack onto the plane. It's always in my hotel room, and it's always with me. I'm super protective over it. And it's a really special It's a really special instrument. It's got a really cool sound to it. It records well, and it's just compact and easy to carry around, and I just love this instrument.
I love you.
So this accordion has been all over the world with me. I've had it in Europe, I've had it all through the States, I've had it through Canada, but one of the most memorable gigs was I was playing in Kandahar, Afghanistan, playing for the troops with some Canadian musicians. And as they were introducing the band, a missile or an RPG, two of them I think, were shot at the bass while we were going on stage, and you could hear them coming over top and then exploding, and we had to spend about 45 minutes in a bomb bunker before we were able to come out and play. And we came out and played for 2 hours, and I played this accordion, and it's just been with me through some crazy stuff. And I know that John Cassell had it for quite a long time too, and he also had it all over the world, which is super cool. And I often like going through his old tour dates and tracing where it's been, and it's always fun to go into those venues where I know he was already there with it. It's pretty special. There's some really cool footage of this accordion online as well that I found. If you look at the John Melon Camp Check It Out video, okay, it's from 1980 something, but you can find it. It's the official video for Check It Out, and they're playing in this huge stadium, I think in Indianapolis, and it's sort of that great band with Lisa Germano on fiddle and John Cassell playing this accordion, Kenny Arnoff on drums, and they're playing Check It Out, and this is featured in that video. There's also a really cool video on YouTube of Melon Camp playing with Paul Simon at the Hard Rock Cafe in Los Angeles, and they're doing some cool broken down acoustic tunes like The Boxer with Paul Simon with this accordion. It's really, really special to hear that. I love listening to those records too, and you can really tell this accordion on some of the tunes, like one of the Melon Camp tunes, Pop Singer. There's a break in it where this accordion does this rhythmic thing, and right away I'm just like, it's such an unmistakable sound. It's funny sometimes how instruments will come full circle. And somebody once said, I think it was Joe Bonamassa said, we're just temporary custodians of these instruments. And I think of it that way. I'm just a temporary custodian of this instrument. It's a very special instrument, but I get to have my time with it, and John Cassell had his time with it, and I'm sure after I'm gone, hopefully somebody else will keep playing it and keep the legacy of it alive. But I had an interesting full circle moment, I think, for the accordion when my band, the Hello Darlings, we're just releasing a double record right now that we were really lucky to record at United in Hollywood, really iconic studio. And as it turned out, the engineer on the session was the legendary, iconic Ross Hogarth. Love you, Ross. And if you don't know Ross is a bazillion-time Grammy Award winner and has worked with everyone from Van Halen to Dr. Dre. He's a total heavyweight and one of the most beautiful, nicest people you'll ever meet. And part of Ross's history, of which is quite a rich history of working with like Lowell George and David Lindley. He also started out in his early career working on some of the Melon Camp records, including The Lonesome Jubilee. So he was one of the engineers that actually worked recording this instrument on those sessions. When we were doing pre-production for the album, I was meeting with Ross via Zoom sessions to talk about making the record, and I kind of pulled this thing out of its case and showed it to him on the video, and I said, I know that you worked on these records. Do you remember this accordion? And he did. He remembered it, and I think it holds a special place in his heart too. So when we did the recordings in LA, I brought the accordion, and it was really special to be able to have a moment with Ross where he got to record this instrument again on some of our material. And I just thought that was incredible that the instrument kind of made its way back around to this man that had spent so much time recording it. And he knew John Cassell very well and spoke very highly of him. I think John Cassell was a very good musician, and wrote some really iconic and played some really iconic parts on these records. And what I loved about John Cassell was that he was a B3 player. He was a Hammond player and started off playing a lot of Hammond stuff. So you could tell when he picked this thing up, he approached it almost like an organ and just played really, really pretty parts on it, and not really in an accordion player pa polka sort of way. He did something pretty fresh with it. And then with Lisa Germano, the fiddle player, they would play these lines together on the Melon Camp tunes, and just these beautiful parts that, man, you know, if I could ever write something that memorable on that went on a song, I could die happy for sure. Songs like Check It Out, it's such an iconic accordion hook that you always remember. But it was really special to record with Ross and hear some of the stories about John Cassell. And when I bought this accordion, there were actually 2 accordions for sale. And the fellow that sold me this accordion said, well, this was his main one that he used the most, the one that he used live, but he had sort of a backup accordion, a black one that he did use and record on some of the other songs as well. And they were both up for auction on eBay. I got this one. As it turns out, John Melon Camp has the other one, and Ross was showing me a picture. It hangs above John's office desk at Belmont Studios, and I thought that's pretty special and a nice tribute to John Cassell. Anyways, it's just incredibly special to have this instrument and to get to play it all the time and tour with it, and plan to continue making music with it for as long as I can. In fact, I played it on track just yesterday, and it just sounds absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for letting me share another story about another piece of gear that I love very much from my gear locker. There's many more instruments to go through, but I hope you enjoyed the story of the most famous accordion in the world. Thanks. See you next time.